Hello, everybody. My name is Scott Chacon. I am the CEO of GitButler. And today on our Pantry episode, we're going to be looking at a TUI. So you may know GitButler as a GUI, actually looks something like this. But today we are not going to be talking about the GUI. We are going to be talking about a terminal interface. So it is also sort of a graphical interface, and it's something in between sort of the CLI and the GUI. Now, you may have used something like this before if you've used something like LazyGit or other sort of Git-based version control TUIs. But ours is particularly cool, so I want to do a quick demo of what it looks like to do GitButler operations in the terminal. If, let's say, you're using terminal agentic tooling, this is a really nice way of being able to manage your commits and your version control information. So let's take a look at our TUI. Here we have a but command. We can see sort of what the CLI would give us. We have a whole bunch of files that I just ran Claude to add a couple of features to, and we want to go in and commit them manually, let's say, or move stuff around after the fact. So we're going to do it from scratch, actually create some branches, some commits, some stack branches, and see sort of how easy it is to do all of this. So the way that you launch this is you run but TUI. It looks very similar to the status output or the short log, but you can sort of move your cursor around. So what we're going to do first is create a branch. So if you hit the help button, the question mark, you can see sort of all the different things that we can do with hotkeys. But the easiest thing to do is hit B, create a new branch. Now we have this SE22 branch or whatever. We can rename it. You just hit enter and name it to whatever you want. So let's say jobs, right? We have this sort of job board thing here. There's no commits on this branch. And so there's a couple different ways you can do this. You can sort of go to this unassigned changes, which is all of the stuff you've modified, and you can hit C and you can commit it here, right? And all of the files, great. And you can see sort of all of the files are in one commit there. Let's say that we actually want to split all of this up. So I'm going to hit U to undo. I'm going to undo that commit, and we're going to do it a different way. The other way that we can do it is you can hit N for a new commit, and it creates an empty commit. And we can even write the commit message beforehand if we want to. So we hit enter, and we can say jobs board, right? And then we can hit R on one of the files and amend it into that. And now you can see just that file is in this commit. And if we push this up to GitHub, this is the only thing sort of that we would see, right? And you can keep doing that. I can keep hitting N, creating new commits. I can even have no commit message and start moving some stuff into it. So let's say I want to move this into it, this live controller. Now we have sort of this live stuff in here. So I can say live stuff. And now I have two commits on this one branch. There's a bunch of other things I can do. I can create a new, as you know, if you've been using GitButler, you can have multiple branches that are sort of next to each other. You don't have to be on just one branch at a time. If I want to see what something is, I can hit D, and that shows me sort of the details. Let's look at this more in full screen here. I can move this over as well. So if I want to go through this and see sort of what the diff of all of these are, I can do that. I can also move over to a hunk and sort of look at it specifically if I want to look at sort of that, right? So let's say that I want to go ahead and move that. I'll hit R again. R sort of rubs it, moves stuff around, and I can move it sort of wherever I want to. So it's actually kind of interesting if you think about this, right? I'm rubbing this into this file. It's moving it down here. Like, let's try this routes one, right? I'll move it down here. What it's doing is it's creating a new commit and it's rebasing the stuff that's sort of on top of it. So that's relatively difficult to do with Git. It's fairly easy to sort of move all of these files and hunks around with GitButler in the TUI. So hitting Control F will show you the files that are in each of the commits in case you want to toggle that. And I can come down here and I can say, here's a new commit. I want this to be my jobs tweet. And I can rub stuff into that one, this one. And now I have a couple of changes in this one. And this is a completely separate thing. One of the coolest things that you can do as well, you can create a commit and then rub all of the unassigned changes into that one, right? So now everything that's unassigned is in there. This also actually makes it relatively easy to split a commit. So let's say that we have these 5 files in this commit here, and we want to split the commit. We can hit N to create a new commit. I can move it even above or below that one, and then I can go ahead and move files into it. Let's say I want to move these ones. So now I moved 2 of these files into this new commit, and I can say label stuff, whatever. So now I have 3 commits here. The other kind of cool thing you can do is you can move commits around. So I can move this commit into this one, into this branch, if I want it to be there instead, or I can move it just a couple commits down in the same branch, and it rebases stuff on top of it. Or I can use it to stack branches. So if I have 2 branches and I decide they actually need to be stacked, I can go ahead and hit M to move, and stack the branch on top of that. And with almost any of these things, you can hit U and just undo it so that unstacks the branch again. And then I could, say I stacked it the wrong order, right? So now I have it stacked this way. And so it's fairly easy. I can also sort of undo commits by hitting, again, the R command, which squashes stuff, rubs stuff. I can hit that and I can undo just that middle commit, right? And so it'll rebase the one that was above it, keep the stack in place, and sort of uncommit all of these things. And again, if I hit U to undo it, it undoes the uncommit. I can also squash commits together. So let's say this jobs board and live stuff, I want them to actually be one commit. I can, again, hit R and I can squash these into one commit. And then if I hit enter, I can change the commit message if I'd like to. You can do this with multiple files at one time. So if I want to go ahead and come in here and say, let's undo this commit. I want to create a new commit and put 3 files in it at once. We've been kind of doing them one at a time. You can do what's called marking. So I can create a new commit. I can mark this one, this one, this one, rub them into this one, and then those 3 files are in that one, right? If you want to hit space, you can go ahead and do multiple selections in order to move a bunch of files or hunks around. If you want to hit commit on everything that's unassigned and just say, okay, all the rest of these I want to create a commit, you hit C and that creates a source for that. And then you can go in here and you can insert this commit of all of these sort of uncommitted files anywhere that you want. So I can put it at the bottom of this whole stack or sort of in between rest of files. And yeah, it goes ahead and puts that there and rebases and moves the stack of sort of everything else. You can see all of this cool stuff that you can do with Git TUI. And you can also say, if you run but status, it shows you the exact same thing, right? So it's just sort of an interactive short log for moving a lot of this stuff around. So that's the GitButler TUI. If you're living in the terminal and this is something that's interesting to you, if you're sort of, using agent TUIs as well, you can sort of split the screen, have it working on one, and you can see what it's doing, and go ahead and do your version control stuff live if you'd like to. So splitting commits, squashing commits, creating new ones, stacking branches, unstacking branches, all of this stuff is a couple of keystrokes. It's super fast, and it's really easy to understand. So go ahead and try out the GitButler TUI today. Just download the CLI and run but TUI, and you're ready to go. Thanks.